Welcome. So in this video, I talk about the things that are required for the exam and how to use the calculator both. So the first thing that you require is time. You need to commit at least 150 to 200 hours per level per part as prescribed by the Garp Institute, and you need to be focused, and you cannot use your phone while studying. You need to focus. Whatever time you're studying, study for the short duration every day, but study with a lot of focus, and that will cement your understanding of the principles and help you in your work life as well. The second thing required is books. I'll be sharing the PDF versions of the required books. We will use the Squeezer 2020 books for our studies for now. I know it's 2021 and we are moving to the 2022 exams, but the material has not changed much. There are only a few changes. The videos and the material for which I'll be sharing separately. There are usually not much changes. It's usually part one is usually restructured a bit, and that has not been done in this year. And the third thing that you require is your calculator. It's the Texas Instrument BA2 Plus Financial Calculator. There are two versions for this available. One is a normal version, and the other is a professional version. The only difference is the professional version has a metallic body and it has a feature or two extra, but they will not exactly be required because those calculations are very minute and you can do it by hand. I'll show you right now as well how you can do those calculations in 2 seconds. It won't take much time. So let's move on to the videos now. The So let's move on to how to use the calculator now, and I'll be using the app for now to just to share my screen. It'll be easier that way, but you shouldn't use this app. There's an app BA2 Plus, but you shouldn't use it because you need to set your hand. You need to be in the habit of using the for the time value of money in quants calculations. The calculator is a must, and because your exam is almost 50% quantitative, more than 50%. So let's start with the first thing. So you obviously know 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 decimals. This plus minus button, what it does, it toggles between plus and minus. So for example, you want to start with minus 9. So we usually don't press minus 9. What we do is we press 9 and then we toggle between minus and plus. So we get minus 9. We press it again, it becomes plus again. Then clearly we know equal to, plus, minus, multiply, divide. This gives us the inverse. So 9, you get the inverse. Or 9 squared, or 9 root. Then this gives us 9 to the power 2 is equal to 81. Simple, all of these. Then you can use these brackets very easily. And you need to always remember while using brackets is you need to remember where you've opened the bracket and where you've closed it, because this calculator does not show you that. And in future, in more difficult calculations, you'll need to open multiple brackets, 2, 3, 4, and you need to remember where and how to use it. And one important thing in these basic calculations is that, for example, you do 9 into 3 and you want to do 9 into 3 and square of that. So 27, you get 9 into 3, 27 square. But this calculator will not do that. If you do 9 into 3 and you put a square over here, what this does is it squares whatever is on the screen in that moment. So it will do for you 9 into and then square of 3, not 9 into 3 and then square of the whole thing. So you need to keep that in mind and work accordingly, use brackets accordingly. Then this is the percentage button. It's very easy, again 16%. And one thing that is helpful over here is that if you do, let's say 15 plus 25%, so it'll give you 15 plus 25% of 15 automatically. You don't have to do that again. Simple. Then you know how to use the natural log. So let's say 5 natural log is 1.69, and if you use the second button over here, you can access the line on top of each number given in yellow, sorry. So if you press second and ln, it gives you the exponent of 1.609, whatever that was, and it comes back to 5. Then we use the store. STO stands for store, and we use this very simply. For example, you got a difficult figure over here, into 8 divided by 7 into 7 divided by 40. So we basically, okay, sorry, 9 into 8 divided by 7. So I got this figure over here, and I need to use this along with some other calculation. I need to calculate two things like this and add them up, let's say. So it becomes very important to difficult to use brackets. So what I can do is I store this in 1. So it gets stored. I do clear it using this clear button, and then I do my next calculation. When I got that figure, let's say 9, for example, how do I get that number back? I do plus recall 1. So this comes back equal to, I get this answer. And after, you'll always have this in recall 1, so you'll need to remove it before the exam. And how you do this is you can access all the stored numbers in going to memory, which is above 0. So you do second 0, and you get, so a memory in 0 is nothing, memory in 1 you get that figure. So now you need to clear it, but it won't just work with this clear button over here. What you need to do is you need to do second and clear work. Only then will some of these data points get cleared, and we'll see it works in other ones as well. So now you know store, recall, clear work, memory, you know. So format, yeah, format you won't need to use, but if you're using the calculator for the first time, I'd recommend you go do second and you go to format, and you make the number of decimal places 6. So you press 6, enter, and it becomes 6. But when you're starting off with the calculator, the number is usually 4, and it's important to have 6 decimal places, and we'll see why later on. So all of this is done. Rand gives you a random number generator between 0 and 1, a normally distributed random variable between 0 and 1. We'll see what normally distributed random variables are and how they are used. Then this gives you the factorial, so 6 factorial 720. This gives you the permutation NPR, so 9 permutation 8 362 880, simple. Then this gives us the next one gives us the NCR, so 9 combination 8, it gives us 9 again. So, or if you're not comfortable with this, you can use the formula, but it's a very tardy calculation. You going with n factorial by n minus r factorial into r factorial. So I recommend you do this. So this answer above equal to, how it is used is, I'll show you. So for example, I had gotten 9 before this, and let's assume it was a very difficult number, 10.28, blah, blah, blah. And I, by mistake, I pressed clear. So now what do? I do second equal to, and I get that figure back. The answer gives me the previous answer back. And that was the basics, all the basic numbers over here. The second and third line in the calculator, that is this line and this line, are important. We'll do that a little towards the end. So let's see this one. So above the bracket we have sine, cos, tan. It's very easy. You just put 90, second, sine 90, you get 1. Same for cos, tan. In this data, let's go to data with second 7. So in high school also you might have done that, you get 10 x values and 10 y values, and then you need to calculate the standard deviation of each, or you need to calculate the correlation manually. But this calculator helps you doing that automatically. So you just need to see how to enter the values. So what you need to do is, let's say x1 is 5, you press enter. You need to press enter, otherwise it won't get saved. Then you use this down arrow to go to the next one, which is y1. So y1, let's say 9. And let me enter a few figures quickly, random figures. And I've entered 4 figures for each. And now let me go to stat. So stat for the statistics that will be automatically calculated. So second 8. And Lin tell me that it will give me a linear calculation, a linear equation, and I can change lin if I have, let's say, an exponential equation or a logarithmic equation by using set, which is the second button on the first row. So I do second, enter, I get set. So it changes to logarithmic, exponential, power, and then we go back to linear for now. So now we move down with the down arrow. N is equal to 4 means we entered 4 variables. The mean of x is 5.75. This is the standard error of x. We'll study the difference between standard error and standard deviation later on. This gives us the standard deviation of x, y, mean of y, standard error of y, standard deviation of y. Then a is the intercept. So we get an equation in the form. This gives us an equation in the form y is equal to a plus bx, where a is the intercept and b is the slope. So we got a, we got the slope b, and r is the correlation between x and y. So what this one does is that it gives you an x dash, that is you enter x and it will give you a y from the equation y is equal to a plus bx, or you can enter y over here and you can get an x as well. So let me enter x is equal to 7, enter y, compute. So on the top left there's a compute button, compute. I get y is equal to 7.57. Simple. And the summation of x square, summation of y square, summation of xy, and that's all we get from this. So now we need to again clear data and clear stat. So second stat, second clear work. So we use this clear work button because it's very important to use this clear work button over here, because whenever you're going above that line in the yellow figures, you need to use this yellow clear work to clear that whatever is in there. And usually it sets it back to one variable, but I'd recommend you change it to linear every time you work. You remember it to change it to linear. Then we clear data as well. So second data, second clear work, it gets cleared, all done. Next is the bond. So when we're investing in a bond, this is a start date. Let's say you started on this date, you invested the amount on this date. This is the coupon. So when you're investing in a bond, after every 6 months, you're getting an amount of 5%, let's say. So of 5% per year means every 6 months you're getting $2.5 if you're investing $100 right now. So you need to enter that coupon rate over here. Next one is redemption date, RDT. This means the date at which your bond matures and you get your entire sum back of $100. RV is the redemption value or the face value, that is $100, like I said. ACT is actual. So sometimes a bond lasts for, let's say, 2 years and 6 months. So see, some 6 months are different from the other. For example, January to uh, June has 181 days, and July to December is 184 days. And interest matters even if it is for 1 day or two, the difference of 3 days. So we need to, so this gives us an actual by actual calculation. That is, you take the actual number of days, 181, divided by 365. It's if it's a 6 month bond. Or let's set and show, let me set and show you, it gives you a 360 figure. This says that each month, each of the 12 months have 30 days only. And so the total number of days in the year is 360. It's called a 30 by 360 method, wherein 30 months in 30 days in a month and 12 months in a year. So 30 by 360 method. But we usually use the actual by actual, but some bonds use 30 by 360. Some bonds even use actual by 360, and we'll study about that later. Let's go back to actual. This is 2 per year. So like I said, the bond coupon you get after every 6 months usually. That is the standard form. And if some bonds do not pay you every 6 months, rather they pay you every 1 year, that will be mentioned in the question. If it's not mentioned, you assume every 6 months. So you can toggle this as well. You do second enter, and you get 1 per year. And then you can compute the yield of the bond if you enter the price, or you can get the price if you enter the yield, and we'll see how that works later. We won't need the bond, this bond button in our FRM calculations. We'll use the TVM itself in those calculations. So let's see depreciation now. So this is the straight line method of depreciation. You can change the method over here, diminishing balance method, etc. Then this is the life of the machine, the value at time zero, the cost, the salvage value, and the number of years. We won't need this. I'm just telling you for your knowledge. Let's go to the next one, percentage. So this gives us the percentage change. Old number, let's say 60, new number 70. So the percentage change will be 16.66%. And this will give you that, not required. Break even. So this is primarily used in accounting, wherein profit is equal to revenue minus cost. We all know that. And revenue is calculated as price per unit into the number of units sold. P into Q, we say. P price into quantity, P into Q. And cost is broken down into fixed cost and variable cost. So the profit is equal to fixed cost. Profit is equal to P into Q minus uh, VC plus FC. So we enter all of that and we can get profit. So FC, VC, PE, profit you enter, or you can get, you enter profit and you can get the quantity as well. That is, I need to earn this much profit. What should be my quantity? Same thing. You can leave out any one figure and enter the rest, and you will get compute that. You have to use this top left button of compute. Then we go to date. So like I told you, between 1st January and 30th June, there are 181 days, but you won't know this for each and every date. For example, today is 5th July to 9th September. You won't know the actual number of days in that. So you can calculate it using this date button with date 1, date 2, and you get the difference between dates, DBD. Then profit, for profit, you enter the cost, you enter the cost price, selling price, and you get the margin. Simple, not required over here. So I think I've covered almost everything in this section. So now let's start with time value of money, and we'll do time value of money formally in my reading, but let's see how to use the calculator for the same. So let's say you're investing $100 for 10 years at 5% interest today. Let's see how much you get after 10 years. So N stands for number of years, the first one. So I'll show you. N is the number of years. So 5, sorry, 10, N. 5 interest per year. I by Y interest per year. 100 minus PV. Why minus? Because you're investing this amount. This amount is going away from you, so minus. If you were borrowing 100, you were taking a loan, then plus 100. Remember that this calculator will give you an error if you forget this minus. Okay, you got minus 100, and then you do compute FV, and you get a future value that is 162.89, about 163. So after 10 years, you'll get 163 back to you. And notice that this is in plus. So now if I had put PV in positive, that is I had taken a loan, the calculator would give me compute FV minus, that is I need to return. I had borrowed, now 10 years later, I need to return $163 almost. So this was basic. Then PMT, how PMT works is that, let me clear this. So for time value of money, remember that the clear button is not the bottom left one. It is not clear. It is not the clear work. That is second clear. It is only this clear TVM on top of FV. So always you need to do second and clear TVM. Otherwise, you'll get a wrong answer when you're doing a second question on time value of money. So let me show you how PMT works. So what happens in bonds is that you're given a face value, that is after they tell you after 10 years you will receive $100. That is called the face value. You're first told the amount you'll receive back. Okay, and you invest it for a number of years, and every 6 months, but for simplicity, let's consider every 1 year, but it's usually every 6 months you get a certain amount, but let's consider for simplicity that every 1 year you get $5, and your face value is $100, and you're investing for 10 years. So let's enter those figures first. I get 100 after 5 years, after 10 years, sorry, 100. I get back 5 every year. So 5 is the payment I receive, and it's in plus because I'm receiving. Number of years is 10. So now I by Y and PV are both empty, and I won't get a result usually because I need to enter any one of them, and then I can compute the other. So usually what happens is that the market interest rate is different from the 5% that I'm getting, the 5% coupon. So using logic, if I were to ask you, if the market interest rate is, let's say, 7%, so should the price of my bond be $100 or more or less? I think it should be less than $100 because I'm investing in something that returns 5%. But the market is returning me 7% over here, which is above 5%. So technically, the value of this bond would be lower than $100 right now. So if I enter the market interest rate of 7%, the price of my bond would be compute present value, and it gives me $86, which is again less than 100. If the market interest rate was less than 5%, let's say 3 I by Y, if I do it, I can get a PV of more than $100, which is 170. And note that this is minus because I have to pay it right now. And we can do it other way around as well. Let's say if, the asking price of the bond is $110, and remember minus. So I'm paying 110 right now. I'm getting 5 every month, and I'm getting 100 at the end of 5 years, at the end of 10 years. So when I do compute interest rate, this means that the yield that I'm receiving, that is 3.78%. This is called yield, and this is the actual interest rate that I am receiving. And if this is above the market interest rate, I will invest. If this is below the market interest rate, I will not invest. I'll try to short this bond. We'll see how that works. So now let's see how the 6 month or semi-annual bond would work. And we'll do that without using the stop line, right? That is the one above time value of money, the yellow line above, which has XP by Y and P by Y. that is required for when your number of coupons in 1 year is more than one, and we'll do a workaround. So let's say the same bond, $100 future value, 5% coupon, and 10 years, and let's say the yield is 7%. So what you simply do is you had 10 years and you're receiving the coupon semi-annually. So technically you're receiving the coupon 20 times. So you just put in N as 20. Then in interest rate, rather than 7%, you're doing a 6 month. So you put in 7 divided by 2, that is 3.5. You enter that. And remember, the interest rate is not in percentage, it is in absolute terms. So 3.5. Then uh, regarding the coupon, so now you have to half the coupon as well, because you were initially receiving 5% every year, but now you'll receive 2.5 every 6 months. So you need to do 2.5 payment, and then if you compute present value, okay, weird figure. Maybe I took a few weird numbers, but you'll get a figure that is usually close to 100, between 60 and 150 in your answers. But this, I got a weird figure because maybe I used weird numbers. Let me change the number and see. Uh, yeah, now I think I'm getting a correct answer, and usually get a number very close to 100 in your answers, and it might be a cause of worry if you're getting a very weird figure like I got, and you need to retry it. So do that. So the workaround, like I was saying, for example, now if it's a quarterly paper coupon bond, which is not usually the case, but just to know, so you multiply the n by 4, you divide I by y by 4, and you divide the annual coupon rate by 4. Now it's given, if it's given the quarterly coupon is $2, then don't divide that by 4, obviously. And this was time value of money. We'll do it more formally when we're doing the uh, reading or the introduction video. So now let's see the second line, that is cash flow. So how is this different from time value of money? So in the bond, you were receiving $2.5 every 6 months, and it was fixed for 10 years. Like 20 times, you'll get exactly 2.5. But what if you're getting a different value every time? You're getting $3, you're getting $2, you're getting $1, you're getting $10 after every 6 months. So how will that calculation work? You can do that using cash flow. So you open cash flow, you go to cash flow, and you enter the amount invested right now at time zero right now. So let's say I invested 120, I put in minus, enter. In cash flow, you need to put in enter. Only in TVM you don't do enter. In all other things, you have to put enter. So enter, then I go down. Next is the cash flow one. So after 1 year, let's say I receive 20, enter. Next, so F1. So how this calculus is more advanced is that if you're receiving 20 for the next 3 years and then there is a change, you won't have to enter 20 thrice. You can do frequency. F stands for frequency. You just do frequency 3. So for the next 3 years, it fixes 20. Then you get the second cash flow, that is the fourth cash flow technically at time 4. So let's enter this as 50, enter, and let's put this for 2 frequency. And let's say if it's 0, sometimes you can enter 0 as well. If it's a negative figure that is you have to pay money, you can enter that as well. Not an issue. So you do all that, and then we move to NPV. So what NPV gives us is it gives us a figure that is the net present value of the project, which tells us that you invested 120 and you're receiving this much amount. If you take the present value of these at a market interest rate, which I'll be entering, I stands for interest rate. So let me enter 6. If I enter this 6, so I had investment my money for 5 years, which was 3 times I got 20 back and twice I got 50 back. So technically I got $160 back, but now I need to take the present value of those figures. So what it does, it takes the present value of those figures and it takes the difference from the amount invested and gives me a net value. So let me calculate the net value and show you. So I entered an market interest rate of 6% and I compute NPV. So compute NPV compute, it gives me $10, which means this project is positively giving me back $10, which means the present value of the future cash flows, that is 20, 20, 20, 50, 50, is 130.42, and net it is giving me back 10.42 in the present. So now let me add that the difference in the financial the professional version of the calculator is that it gives us the net future value as well. That is, if I were to take this figure to the end of 5 years, what would that figure be? And that is available in the professional version and not in the regular version, but it's not a cause of worry. So to get that figure, let me show you how that's done. So you're just taking the future value of this 10.42 that I just got, and I'll calculate it for you right now. So I take the future value of this. So what will be the future of value of this? So I'll get 6% every year on this, 6%, 6%, 6%. So I just multiply it with 1.06 to the power 5, close bracket. So 10, whatever the figure was, 10 point whatever, it becomes 1.338 times. It'll become 13.95. Okay, remember this figure, 13.95, and you'll see the exact figure over here. So when I go down, I go to NFV and I get this. I press compute, I get this exact figure, 13.95. That's just the NFV, and there's no need to worry about NFV. You can easily do 1.06 to the power the number of years, and you can get NFV. No need to worry. Now let's clear FV. So cash flow, second clear cash flow, NPV, second clear NPV. Oh, I forgot to show you IRR, but how it works is that it basically gives you the interest rate for which you would get a zero NPV. And we'll see how it works in the introduction to quants, introduction to time value of money reading exactly. But it basically tells you an interest rate at which the NPV, your NPV would come out to be zero. And in this case, it would be a little above 6%, obviously, because at 6%, I was getting a positive NPV. But if the interest rate, market interest rate is a little above 6%, let's say 6.2%, then I would have gotten maybe a zero NPV. I've removed the figures, but I'll show you this when we are doing the actual calculation in a question or two. And this one, there's no interest rate entering, you just press enter. And how this helps is that, let's say you got a 6.2% figure for your project IRR. It's called internal rate of return. That is the rate of return earned by a project. It's kind of like yield for the bond itself, and it tells you that if the market interest rate is, let's say, above 6.2%, then you don't invest in that project because you'll be borrowing at above 6.2 and you're investing at 6.2. So it's a loss making scheme. So you don't do that. And that was basically whatever is required for FRM in this calculator. I've told you a few extras as well. Remember the second and third line, that is cash flow and time value of money. It's really important. Remember that you need to clear time value of money, and remember about the brackets, opening of brackets, closing of brackets, and that whatever is on the screen, that only will be the calculator will work only on that. For example, again, 9 into 8 square. So it squares 8. It does not square 9 into 8. Same thing for other divide and multiply and whatever. And remember to use brackets very well. Remember the brackets. Remember to clear whatever you've done after every question. And sometimes in time value of money, you don't need to clear everything. For example, I enter, let me do it quickly, 100, 5 years, 7% interest. So I compute the present value as this much. Now, if I want to change the interest rate, I don't need to write everything again. I just change 3i by y and compute PV. The N, PMT, and FV stays fixed. And that is approximately it. That is what is required in this calculator for now. And you'll get the hang of it as you practice along with me, and you practice questions as well. When we do the time value of money, you'll get to know a few more extra things. And that's all for now.